Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. If you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a movie, and that movie is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Here to discuss, as always, you know him, you love him, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, how's it going?
Good, man, good. We're back. I feel like we say it with every movie. We're back to the theaters.
But this one felt like it was really back. Like I gotta
This one did feel like it was really back.
What you saw Thursday night, right?
I saw Thursday night.
How busy was it?
It was
Like solid for what, especially for COVID times. Yeah, you got people in the room. Yeah, I hear you. No, I walked in on Saturday. I went to the 6 o'clock showing.
Okay.
And it was a very decent crowd. Like it wasn't full to the brim by any means, but it was.
And I guess the
filled
box
out.
office record is kind of showing that. I think it did. Did it do better than the Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Or it did, and it did better than Black Widow.
Yeah, and I think that actually broke the record for Labor Day weekend. Even it was like
I was gonna say I don't think I'm trying to think of a movie that's come out on Labor Day weekend.
I'm trying to remember what the last one was.
It's usually a dodgy weekend for movies.
It might have been Joker.
No, that was August 6th.
No, you're right. No, that was. I thought that was October. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wait.
I'm trying to. I thought it was October, but
October.
Either way, I think it was another pretty big movie, superhero movie, if I remember. But yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. See, people are getting back in the theaters. See, people are feeling comfortable enough to go back. I mean, with all this fucking Delta shit and whoever knows what, it's nice to see. And now it seems a lot more movies are committing to coming back to the theaters. Venom was moved up 2 weeks. Truly, because I'm telling you, they were sitting there. They were discussing that behind the scenes the whole time. They were like, we might have to delay.
Someone's coming out?
October 1st.
All right.
So, yeah. So now
see.
that's moved up. I mean, I think they're doing press and stuff now. So I think they are locked in.
Yeah.
But I do think they were kind of
wishy-washy.
And then Shang-Chi came out and did this well. And I think a lot of these theaters are like, okay, we can start doing this. It seems like Disney is going to just do the same type of release with Eternals, which is really good. So good stuff.
So speaking of Shang-Chi, the titular character of this film, what did you think of our first Asian outing, superhero outing from Marvel and probably films in general, right? We've never really had like an Asian superhero kind of take the scene. Maybe you could count Heroes as an interpretation of an Asian in a superhero role. But yeah, what'd you think?
I mean, I thought first, honestly, just even eliminating the Asian thing for me, I think it was just a good movie, and I think it was a fun superhero movie, and I thought it was a fun fucking kung fu action movie, especially in the first half for me with that train fight when he's fighting all the guy or the bus fight, and even when he's in the ring and he's fighting with Death Dealer and stuff like that. There's some really good action, and apparently they had like some of Jackie Chan's old stunt team working on this movie, which I feel like you can kind of feel just that kind of classic
I kind of
kung
expected,
fu.
well, not expected, but I'm glad to hear that Marvel. I saw it with Penza. He was more familiar with like the kung fu genre than I am. That's not really a genre I've ever watched at all. Yeah. So I don't really have any sort of bias towards it. But it seemed to hit those marks of like what a kung fu movie needs to be.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it kind of gets a little dodgy for me near the end. And
the third
a bit
act
messy.
is long.
It's and I just feel like there's a lot of stuff going on. And I didn't really love the villain all that much.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I found that the 10 rings themselves were very they're just things that make you very powerful, and like I was like I kind of want more
up until the end.
Yeah, that's true, but I guess yeah we'll talk more in spoilers, but overall I had a lot of fun with this movie. I felt it was a tiny bit too long, like I said, but I think I would absolutely recommend everyone go see it. I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really liked it. I had really not low expectations going to this,
but like no expectations maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this movie, I mean, and there was kind of some like Twitter debacle, and what's Shang-Chi's actor's name? Is it Simu Lee?
I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a goog, but continue.
Yeah, like his first name is definitely Simu.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Yeah, like, and there was like some quotes about him, like, you know, I think Kevin Feige or was it somebody else?
No, it was Iger. When he
Not
said
Iger.
It was one of like it was like a studio.
It was a higher up, and it said like, you know, like Shang-Chi was a risk, and I'm like, yeah, I would agree, and I think for the risk of this movie, this is definitely the most unknown comic book character you could pick and bring it into the MCU. And also, nobody knows who Shang-Chi is.
From what I was reading from that quote, it wasn't that he was talking about that like the character itself, or the person wasn't talking about like that the character itself was like an experiment. They were talking about releasing it in theaters only. Like there was this whole misconstruction of like he was saying like, oh, this is a this is a test with it for with it. And I was like, no, that's not what he was talking about. This is this is an experiment in the way of you're bringing a, like you said, a very unknown character. I'd say D-list character even.
Yeah, I would say even like E-list.
Yeah, like
not a very well-known character, not a very highly regarded character,
like that. Not many people know about, that I knew next to nothing about.
Same.
True, and I mean we're big comic book people, so I think it is an experiment in that term. But I didn't really understand that whole debacle, and I felt like it was very kind of blown out of proportion.
I guess I get it. He's spearheading a new character.
No,
and
sure.
He definitely cares about it. You can tell. And he
did get into this.
He's probably a little sensitive about it.
Sure.
I would imagine, and I guess he has every right to be. It's also like again an ethnically and culturally driven film.
Sure.
Just like Black Panther was.
Yeah.
But I think this hot take. This is better than Black Panther. This succeeds at just doing everything way better than Black Panther did. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I liked the villain. I thought the Mandarin Wenwu?
Wenwu is his name, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed him. I thought the family sort of conflict was really interesting. One thing you don't see on screen or in like anything a lot is brother and sister conflicts.
That's
I feel
true.
like you get brother, sister, sister, but brother, sister
doesn't happen that often for sure.
Like, okay, we got it in Arrow, but like not to like the extent I think Shang-Chi does it. And by the way, I feel like I'm gonna be like just doing this the whole
Shang-Chi,
time.
Yeah, it's Shang-Chi technically, but it's a bit
there is a few lines in the beginning where they really hit you with like no, like it's Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
Like when she's saying it to Katie.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Awkwafina's character. Yeah, I think the fighting was great. The choreography was great. I think the first two acts are great. The third one, like you said, like gets a little lengthy in the end. I think the comic relief was good with Trevor Slattery coming back, which was
a great.
I guess not a surprise, but like, oh, great.
That was spoiled for me. From like, there's like a poster they released, and he was standing on it with everyone, and I was like, fuck. But I didn't.
Morris, MVP of the fucking movie. I
the
love
weird little faceless animals. Yeah, there was. I will say, character and just animal design or creature design in this was really cool. And it was really amazing
we got a lot
interesting
of,
and different.
The typical like guardian dog lion and the Kirin and I forget what other kind of mythical Chinese creatures are in that scene, but like I thought it was really well done. Probably the only thing I like what I thought was really interesting was like at the end when we get to the creatures coming out of the portal, and I was like, this is going in a direction I don't think
so
expected.
weird. I was like,
this is like like otherworldly demon sort of route.
No, it went pretty dark without trying to get into too much spoilers. But I didn't really love their designs either. But like, we'll get more into that in the spoiler realm. But overall, I think just. You should go see this movie. I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, if you enjoy just a good action flick with some interesting characters and just good dialogue all around, like I just didn't find Wenwu that convincing.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I gave it a 5-star on my like Letterboxd review, and I'm like I like this better than Black Widow, even though I like Black Widow's
I definitely like this
themes
better than
a little
Black
better.
Widow. That's true.
And I'm like, I think I was just more surprised. This is a very different film. Like, I'm not sure we're gonna get a sequel to this. Obviously, Shang-Chi is gonna be back in some
fashion,
fashion. But like, I'm not sure this is gonna get a sequel. And
I think it absolutely will.
Really?
Yeah,
I
think he'll get another one.
Because like, we're not set up for that just yet. So
no, absolutely.
There's no confirmation. But
no, sure.
Like, again, we haven't like a lot of our characters. I think maybe I was talking about it with Penza, and I'm like, the only character to go past 3 films is Thor, and I guess Captain America will. Everyone else kind of stops at 2 or 3.
Well, you mean solo films?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I feel like since Phase 2, they really hadn't done like more than like 2 for. Well,
we're about to get our 3rd with Ant-Man.
We're about to get our 3rd with Ant-Man. We're gonna get our. I mean, I guess it's technically a second Captain Marvel, but like it's the Marvels, so it's like kind of an ensemble. Yeah. What else? You got Black Panther 2 coming now.
Which probably won't even like. Well, who knows what that movie's gonna be?
No, yeah, I mean that's filming at the moment, so it should be very interesting to see what they do with that. and how they treat that story. But
And I was talking to Penza in the theater, just kind of going back to the movie, and I was like, and I think we were like right before it started, we were like, how do you think they're gonna deal with the snap? And I'm like, they're gonna make an offhanded joke about it, and that was one thing that I was just like, can we stop with that? Why are we making jokes about the snap still?
because that's what you do in real life. You'd need levity. You wouldn't want to just sit there and just stew on it the whole time.
I'm not saying they need to
but
stew on it, but
I don't even remember, when did they mention it?
When
don't
they
even
were
remember.
sitting eating with the high school friend.
Oh, at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's funny. It really kind of like it went
Yeah.
right over my head.
And I was
notice.
like, well, I was like, how do you think they're going to reference the snap? How do you think they're going to talk about it? Like, how does it relate to this movie? Which it really doesn't. There's no mention of if any of those people were snapped or not.
Yeah, which I mean works for me. To be honest, I'm fine with leaving that more in the past.
Yeah,
like in the way,
it's
like
just
that's the
kinda-
Thanos thing. It's done. People would obviously keep talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
but like, I feel like if I were living in this world, I just kind of want to move on. Like, true, I wouldn't want to talk about like that I lost 5 years.
Yeah, I guess
or
it's
that
kind of
like
like COVID, right?
my, you know, exactly.
We're
like,
gonna
why
hit
do
a
I-
point where we probably have already hit a point
Yeah.
where it's like, all right,
I
can we
just
stop
don't
talking
fucking
about
care.
it?
Yeah, and I'll give you that. That's definitely a fair point. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't bug me that much.
How did you like Aquafina's character? Because that was
I thought she was fun.
Yeah.
No, like I thought again, they play off each other very well. I feel like she's supposed to be the like the looking glass character that's like, what if we were stumbled upon this world? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of learning. She's learning the things with us as the audience. But I mean, she's fun. She's a great actress. What did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I think she was like funnier than I thought she was gonna be.
I agree. Yeah, and it wasn't like the same. Like I was
Something
actually
about her voice is just kind of funny to me. She has a very like deep voice.
And
for
I was
a woman.
expecting her to go a little bit more over the top, but I got to give it to her. It was pretty reined in for what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think they play off each other very well. And I think the idea of him kind of growing up with her and like he escapes whatever, and without trying
What
to
is
get
that
into too many
place
spoilers.
called?
I can't
Do
remember.
we don't? I don't think we really get a name for.
They probably do name
They
it.
call it the compound a few times, but they don't really say like you know what it really reminded me of, and I'm like they really must have took inspiration from this. Ra's al Ghul and
That's in like the League of Shadows and
Yeah,
stuff like
100%.
By the way, their uniforms are dumb as shit. They looked so silly and stupid with their like
what uniforms? I don't even
They're
think I
like
noticed.
they had like these weird black helmets on with like the ponytail out the back, and they were just black armor. Like it was like his not the foot. What is his clan called? Do we even know?
No.
I feel like they probably mention it, but again, like that's what again I felt Wenwu was just like the plot was pushing him. He wasn't pushing the plot. Like and I didn't find that he was really
pushing him. He wasn't pushing the plot.
He was being
I could agree
like
with
like
that.
I didn't really understand his motivations. This idea that he fell in love and then
Like his
without getting into-
motivations were kind of just false. There really
no, it's
wasn't
true.
any.
And like
It was this demon thing talking to him.
sure, spoilers. But yeah,
But I did like how like the family conflict I kind of enjoyed. For some reason, I thought it was kind of like refreshing for some reason.
Sure.
I'm not sure why. Like we've kind of like I guess in some way, shape, or form we've gotten this. Like Tony Stark has like a family conflict with his dad, and that's kind of it. But like this is like okay, like we're seeing like who Wenwu is through Shang-Chi, through his sister. And then we're seeing it also through what we see of the flashbacks. We're like really getting a nice encompassing view of like what happened to them.
Yeah.
And like it was good for a while, and then it went to shit. And then you see the sister's motivations, which again I really liked her and kind of how they build her up. Again, I don't think there's enough like, especially as somebody who's a brother and has a sister, like that dynamic is like, oh cool, like I can relate to this. 'Cause
Sure.
I have a sister.
yeah. And I guess another thing that kind of I didn't really love was like this is called Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, correct? We really didn't get anything about those 10 rings.
Except
besides that, like I mean, near the end, we kind of we kind of get a little bit of an end
If you
stuff.
want to jump to it real fast.
Yeah, we could. So, how about this? Spoiler talk.
Yeah.
Spoiler talk. If you guys are still with us, if you're watching with us live and haven't seen Shang-Chi, please go see it and then come back and hang with us and listen to us discuss the more spoilery stuff of the movie. Last warning. All right, you're still here. Cool. All right, so yeah, let's talk about the 10 rings. At the end, I know like God, why am I forgetting his name?
Wong.
Wong brings. I was about to say Wang. I feel like
I've called him Poe a lot, but you got to remember, like, it's Benedict Wong playing Wong.
That's
which
a
is
little
really
confusing, yeah.
strange. I was like, I'm not sure if they named it after him
Yeah.
or what, but anyway.
So yeah, you see Wong. He pulls Shang-Chi into the portal, and he's like, we felt some type of call at Carmitage after he holds the rings, and like the one thing with the rings, they glow gold with him and his mom for some reason. I guess because he can like. Is that I assume there's a difference there. I guess that
Dragon
means
spirit, maybe.
yeah. There's something like it really feels like it's like
that,
actually being
that
controlled.
his mom's village's people sort of have control of that Wenwu doesn't. So I think maybe that has something to do with it. The spirit dragon, which wasn't Fing Fang Foom, which kind of sucked.
But so what? But I thought they just renamed him in the newer. Or is that just a
not
completely
Fing
different
Fang
character?
Foom.
Okay.
Fing Fang Foom is like a alien.
Okay.
He's from like a
yeah,
different
and he's the one who
planet.
who makes the rings, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
what it?
they're from
and so
that
that's another
planet.
thing we should point out. If you don't know anything about the comic books and the 10 rings, they are actual rings.
Right.
They are hand rings. They go on your fingers. And it seemed like they didn't want to do that this time. And I even saw this in the first trailer. I was like, this makes sense. They did want to avoid comparisons to the Infinity Gauntlet.
I think I remember you telling me, you were like, I really like the way they kind of did the rings, and that is supposed to be like there is a martial arts weapon.
I think they're called bangles.
That are
They're like
bangles.
they are literal like rings that you wear around your wrists.
Right, which is cool. Right,
And
I think
it harkens back.
I think the rings would have been too like
Samey.
and right, but
Yeah.
like kind of normish. Very plebeian, like just
Yeah.
normal. Like now we got these like these actual big ass rings, and you can see them, and like it's
Well-
not like imagine if they were on your hand. Like how would you see that? Like
No,
the
that's
Infinity
true.
Gauntlet is this big fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's
I guess the only thing that also bugs me with the rings is in the comics they all have different powers. Every
yeah.
single,
They don't really go into like
what
even
they're
what the rings powers are.
No,
besides
they
being like a weapon.
they seem to be some type of power magnifier. He can. I did like the beginning scene where he's like attacking the army and it's showing him when he first finds it.
Yeah.
And he's like waving his arms around. He's creating a shield and like he's doing like cool things, but like they just felt very kind of to me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, but going back to that scene, so Wong brings them to Is it Carmitage?
Carmitage, I believe.
Carmitage.
Yeah.
And we get our hologram Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner looking quite old, by the way.
Yeah, and he's still got his arm in the sling.
Yeah, which tells you this can't be that long after Endgame. It
No, I
has to
don't
be a
think-
few months.
Well, I wonder if this arm would even ever go back to normal.
Yeah, and a lot of people were theorizing, why is Hulk back in human form? Because they didn't want to spend the money to do the CGI for one fucking film. And honestly, I don't even think you need to explain
No, I mean that could
why
that
he
absolutely
would just turn back into a human.
Well, it's interesting because the idea is like when he was that Hulk, that was like his kind of true form. Wasn't he kind of like that's Professor Hulk, right? Like that's
Right.
like the best of Banner and the Hulk. So it's interesting that he can turn back. But no, I think that's a very
Yeah,
astute
and I'm like
observation.
realistically think about
but
it.
again,
he was
they're
on screen for not even like a minute or two.
yeah.
Like,
and I guess you
why
just
would
make
they,
yeah.
that CGI is expensive. And
No,
they-
it is,
they-
and I guess
they've
they're like,
been on
why not
record
save
about
it
that.
here? But I actually do think I don't know. I will give it to Marvel. I feel like they do address stuff like that even when they don't have to. Sometimes, maybe to their detriment. But I think that kind of stuff does help. But what does he start saying about the rings exactly? Like they
That
started
they're
sending out.
they're
like,
not made of vibranium.
No, yeah.
He mentions that, and then Captain Marvel was like, "They're nothing I've ever seen. Like they don't look like any technology I'm familiar with, but they're definitely alien."
Yeah.
Like they confirmed that they are not from Earth. They were sent here, which again is in line with the comics. Again, in line with the legend of the Ten Rings that we get. Who's narrating the beginning? His mom.
I believe
and he was
so.
like, "Yeah, like some think they were stolen from an ancient tomb, and other thinks they crash
from
landed,
them, yeah.
and he got them." And I think the crash landed part is probably the truth.
Yep.
That they did crash from an alien planet. I think the like the dragon species is called like the Kothians or something. It begins with a C and it sounds like Coluan, but it's not Coluan.
Gotcha.
From like DC.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then obviously it's like, oh yeah, Wong's like, serious, and he's like, yeah, we need to train, and like, oh, well, Katie, you're coming too, and it's like, wait, what?
Well, and then doesn't he say like he's like it's sending out a signal,
Right.
right? Yeah. So
it's
like
sending out a signal.
that could be interesting. I wonder who that. I saw people online going like Galactus and stuff like this, and I'm like,
Why?
why?
why
Again,
would-
I think it's just because he's a big bad. That's like, and he like.
I think it's
Well, I mean, he is like he's on the level of like Thanos and all that. Absolutely.
right. I don't think it's Galactus.
No.
Maybe it's Fing
No,
Fang
I don't
Foom.
think it is either. And that would make a lot of sense. Sending it to like that, sending the pulse to the alien race that whoever sent them. But yeah, I don't. Again, like that's all we really get about them. And even in the comics, he doesn't have the 10 rings. He's not usually like wielding them, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's more of
it's really a
literally-
Mandarin thing.
He's
I
really
really
just
think
like
they
a-
go back to the Mandarin using the 10 rings, and I don't think they really go too much beyond that.
No.
Again,
I mean, he's just really a kung fu guy in the comics.
you know what I would love to see a sequel of this for? Shang-Chi and the Iron Fist.
I saw that, and the Legend of the Iron Fist. I thought that would be good too, especially considering how they fucked up the fucking show so bad.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like Feige knows people want these characters in, and I think that would be a good in for Iron Fist.
I think it would be a great in.
I think it would make sense if they kind of came together and like did something. I mean, like the Iron Fist is a big deal in the comics.
It is.
And those worlds, I really don't know if they're comic worlds mesh, but they almost have to.
Yeah,
know?
no, I think they
Like, I feel like
probably
they-
run into each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, like it just they're kind of like in line with like the cultural aspect, and
Sure.
like they're like both kung fu superheroes.
Yep.
Like, you know,
No,
it
and I
kinda
mean, he's
makes
supposed
sense.
to be up there with Shang-Chi. I mean,
Was there another end credit scene?
I don't.
or was that our end
maybe?
credit
I
scene?
thought that was it.
I'm trying to think.
I didn't stay after that one, so if there was, I didn't see it. I thought there was only one.
And then we get the thing, which is interesting. The 10 rings will return.
Yeah.
Oh, the clan is called the 10 Rings. What am I fucking talking about?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the location of what the 10 Rings compound in is not known. The sister taking over the 10 Rings. That's the end credit scene.
That was also like a thing that didn't make any sense to me. That she like
So
would grow
again,
up wanting
exactly
to be
like Ra's al Ghul. Talia
Yeah.
takes over the League of Shadows once Ra's is gone.
like. I guess the idea is her motivation is her father didn't think she was good enough, so now she wants to be good enough. But I feel like she would grow up hating everything he does and not want to be like him.
Well, like at first it's like, oh, it's like all girls, and then it goes in. So the scene is like she's in her room, and I guess like cleaning things up, and Razor Fist comes in and says something to her, and you know, she makes some sort of gesture, and she walks out into the field, and like there's a bunch of women training, and then it goes out to the guys, and then the whole compound has been like basically like graffitied,
Yeah.
essentially like painted over, like it's got a whole new look. So the 10 Rings still exist,
Yeah.
essentially, is
But
what
again,
that scene
like,
confirms.
why would you fuck with your brother who has these magic? Like, I don't get why she would take over his evil empire. It didn't really line up to me. Like,
But like again, look at the League of Shadows in DC.
No, but
If-
that's
if
not-
the League
I
of
know.
Shadows isn't
No, I know
always
that,
easy
but, like-
or evil.
but she seems like she's. It seemed like she was going evil. I guess that's. I mean, like that's the. I wasn't getting that she was going to use these for good.
They never specify that she's good. She gives like a smirk.
No, I know.
Like she gives like.
That's
you,
what I'm
You didn't
saying.
see the scene though.
No, I know. No, I'm not talking about that end scene. I'm talking about throughout the entire movie. Her motivation
Oh, yeah.
to become a bad guy to me doesn't make sense to me.
What do you
I
mean?
felt-
She's just mad.
I get that she's mad, but like, wouldn't she want to take down her dad and not be like him because she hates him so much? And like he never like it seems like to me that would cause you to go the other way, not to want to be
Well-
exactly like your father.
Well, like her thing is like, you know, her father wouldn't train her, and she
No, I
kind
know,
of got
I guess-
tilted by that, and she's like, well, I'm just going to train myself by watching all these people. So now that she has control of this organization, that sort of like crafted her in a very indirect way.
Interesting.
She's
Yeah, I
going
know.
to use that tool for her own goals.
no, I know, and I get again.
And I
guess
feel like it's
doesn't
going to
line
be
up for me.
very middle of the road. Like she might be good, she might be bad, but they're not.
Yeah, I'm curious, and I mean, she definitely did
telegraphing
kind of flop a little bit because like I thought she was leaving them at the club when they show up in that scene after the fight, and like she walked
she
out. I was
comes
like, oh,
back.
she's gone.
Yeah.
But like that, and then she ends up coming back and helping them. The one character, what's his name, Death Dealer or whatever, he
Yeah.
really kind of gets just like. I thought he
He's
was going to
there
be
and
this.
he's gone.
Well, that's the thing. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be kind of this big kind of showdown battle with him, and they do have a really that fight scene's pretty dope when they're.
Oh
when
yeah,
he-
yeah, for sure. I don't think we've talked about the choreography fighting like a ton, but like it's fucking great.
I mean, yeah, I
This is
can't really speak
this
to
is-
it much more than
This
that.
is some of the greatest action we've seen in the MCU. Because I mean, for the most part, we're not getting a lot of combat like this.
I mean,
per se.
like the last one I can think of is like where it's hand to hand and it's one shot. Is
Right,
Winter
it's
Soldier.
not heavy
like
CGI,
There's not like
yeah.
there's not a ton of that, but it's funny. Even that like fight with like Thanos and the Hulk in Infinity War is pretty like
Good.
technical.
And you
like,
know what?
It's two CGIs
Thinking
fighting,
back
but
to
like
Endgame, this movie made me realize, wow, I wish the end battle with Thanos was kind of really personal. It's big and it's cool, But
Well,
like
it's a different Thanos. That's the issue too. It's not as
right,
personal.
like that fight is not small and personal. Shang-Chi's fights, besides the end, but again, we're kind of past those fight. We've already done a lot of one-on-one fight scenes with like one or two people.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that fighting is more personal and more visceral. Like we're getting a lot of those choreographed scenes. Whereas when we get to these epic battles, like we don't really get that.
Near the end? Or are you I'm sorry, are you still talking about Shang-Chi?
No, I'm just speaking in general.
general,
I'm more aiming towards Endgame because that is a fucking CGI spectacle.
No, absolutely.
It's not
Again,
a
it's
personal,
a splash page.
dirty fight.
No,
you know?
absolutely. It's not. Yeah, you're not one-on-one.
And that's
totally
kind of
agree.
something I kind of I hope with whatever villain they do, whatever good villain we get, they kind of do those fights. And like even in Shang-Chi, like him and his father, like it's a one-on-one fight.
Yeah,
at the end.
I still don't like that fight though. There's too much CGI going on. I don't like how he's using the 10. I wanted it to be more of like an actual kung fu fight. That's the thing that I didn't love about the ending.
Like fuck the rings.
Yeah, fuck the like.
We're gonna fight
That's
hand
what
to
I
hand.
mean.
No magic.
Like there's no
bullshit.
like there's. I wanted more. It kind of lost that more
like a
grounded feel
yeah,
towards the end, which I didn't love.
I can agree with you. I think if they would have like taken that moment and they got
And, like,
set
really-
in their stances,
Like
and,
he's like,
and
it would have been cool if they realized they can both control the rings. Okay, you know what? Drop them.
Right.
Let's go. Like you know
Right.
what I mean? Like something like that.
I do,
And I mean, Wenwu, the guy who plays Wenwu was like a big Hong Kong action guy, apparently, which I
yeah.
didn't realize.
I do like how Shang-Chi does end up sort of like leading to his demise, even though he kind of kills himself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't kill him, but like he pretty much like he was gonna.
He would have if he had to.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Like he didn't falter
Yeah.
in like that goal. He was like, no, he needs to die.
Yeah.
And I like I think it's pretty dark with like he sends him over to America as a 14-year-old to kill the killer of his mother, and as a child he's getting like walked through like his dad fucking this gang up, the Iron Gang or whatever
that
it was,
was
and I'm
pretty
like,
cool.
is that an
Yeah.
Iron Fist reference? I was like, what's that a reference to? And like he like viscerally like no contest, like he's got the 10 rings,
Just walks in there,
he's
yeah.
fucking them up, and then like he's kind of like instilled like what he needs to be as an adult Shang-Chi, and
What he believes he should be, yeah.
right, and then like he goes to America, like he's sent to kill him and he can't kill him, and he like defects, and then he like grows up as a teenager there.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
he does kill him.
Oh, I thought he didn't.
No, remember when he tells I can't remember the character,
Awkwafina,
Awkwafina's character.
Katie.
He's like, you know how I said that I couldn't go through with it? That was a lie. So he did kill him,
Oh, I think
and
I
I think that's he was just like, I don't want to go back. Like,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I did think that was an interesting kind of splinter to the story.
Did you want to say anything about the bus scene or Razor Fist or anything like that?
Again, I can't speak to it much more than it's great choreography and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think Razor Fist is interesting. I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of more funny. And they,
Yeah. I mean, he is a comic book character, but it was
yeah.
kind of like, okay.
It was interesting. But yeah, I mean, overall, I did one fight. I mean, we saw in the trailers, which I was about, was the Abomination fight, which with Wong.
I was ready to bring that up. I almost didn't understand why. So it seems like Wong and so Abomination is still at a shield facility. It seems like he's
Yeah.
still in captivity, because when he sends him back, you kind of see there's like
shield stuff.
there's
yeah,
like a shield, like a
containment center,
containment cell. It's like, okay, like maybe they're like rigging fights to make money.
Or I think Wong just broke him out just to do like I think he's just kind of.
Right.
It seemed like he befriended him in
Right,
some
they're
way.
friends.
Yeah,
They're
like-
totally friends.
Yeah,
And they're like, all right, like, they fought and he throws it
yeah.
and they make money
Again,
off
just
of
a
it.
very weird.
Very
Well, was
strange.
it that he threw it? I thought it was that he was like, you need to work on your. I thought they were actually fighting.
No, I think they like had it rigged. Like
interesting.
okay, like I'm gonna
I'll take
lose
yeah.
in the end.
Yeah, and
but
then
we're gonna
we get the money,
Right.
money and all that shit. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I mean, comic accurate Abomination. I would kind of love to see
Yeah,
how
with
he
the
got to that
fins
point with
on
the
his
fins and
ears. Yeah,
everything,
he-
and he was spot on.
Apparently, Timothy Roth came back for this.
Oh, he did. Can
And I
you
was like,
hear him at all?
so he came back for grunts, and I was like, that
Yeah,
doesn't
when do you
really
hear?
count.
Maybe he did have like more speaking, and then at some point they cut it off. I don't know.
Maybe. What was I gonna say?
You know-
I liked that character to once they got to that city. Begins with an M. It's obviously not Madripoor, but like they get to the city with an M. I forget what it's called.
Like in the real world, not like the magic. Excuse me. Not the Magic City.
No, the real city. When they find his sister in the fighting ring,
Oh.
and they go up
Yeah.
the elevator, and there's that guy Who like,
hey man, yeah, I know.
What's he saying? Like he's like, I can speak whatever. Like,
Yeah, it's like, I can speak your language. Or so, yeah,
no. He says something funny about
it's funny.
English.
I thought he was gonna be in it more.
I was like, who's this guy?
And then he just
like,
kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I thought he was funny.
He was.
And I was like, when they were walking them through, and like, oh, he like signed up to fight. I'm like, who are these people on the side? Like, who are these people?
They're anything.
I don't think they're anyone. I was like, this guy looks like an X-Men. Like, who are these people?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, I liked Shang-Chi. Was good. I enjoyed it. And again, our next Marvel movie, to tee it up, is another kind of risky film. Like, what the fuck is Eternals? Who are the fucking Eternals? That last trailer got both of us really hyped because like the first two trailers, I'm like, okay.
I'm like, you piqued my interest, but then yeah, that last one, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing. I mean, and it seems to be very heavily based off of the Mark Millar, Eternals run.
No, it's based off of, I think, a Jack Kirby run.
No, it's the Alan Moore.
Jack Kirby did the art for whatever the comic they're basing it off is. Because Jack Kirby drew Eternals.
I thought it was the most recent one because even the stuff they're talking about it is that Alan Moore run. Like, so I'm like, I might be an amalgamation of the two. Okay. But I know because I think when he's talking about like this thing awakening, I'm like, I think I know exactly what they're talking about because like that's what's in. It's the deviants, but there's also, I don't want to spoil it because I think it's what it's going to be in the movie. I think if you're interested, read the Alan Moore run of the Eternals. It's very good and very interesting.
I wonder what comic book. I mean, I guess they didn't. Because this again, Shang-Chi is not the son of the Mandarin.
He's not. No. That's what I thought. Yeah, no. they took a good amount of liberties with this one.
Yeah, they took a lot of liberties with this. And again, this is like one of the first comic books that like I don't know Shang-Chi comics at all. I don't think anyone fucking does.
Most people. There's definitely probably some fans out there.
You're gonna get like a 1 out of 10. Like, oh, I'm a big Shang-Chi fan and have been for a while.
I'd say probably 1 out of 50 for that. But I'd say 1 out of 10 for someone who just knows the comics. You know what I mean? But yeah. No, I think, dude, overall, interesting, fun stuff, different for a Marvel movie. You should definitely go see it.
That's it.
That's it. Guys, thank you so much for watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We always very much appreciate you being here. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We are on all your favorite social medias at Delco Nerds, as well as having a website, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. You can also find our Discord page where we discuss stuff like Shang-Chi and all types of things. Other than that, our email is delconerds@gmail.com. Email us with any comments, questions, or concerns. We'd be happy to get back to you. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.